A lot of stuff he's saying is lying. Ain't no way this man would have told me that I couldn't rent nothing for my daughter. I went in there, I did go sign for getting what you call it, but now one time he said, don't do that. Now, how do that sound?
Well, all right, well, did the laptop get broken?
It did get cracked. And then, I said, well, can we file an insurance? He said, no. And so.
All right, our next matter is Aaron's Sales and Lease versus Dorinda Brumfield. Miss Brumfield is in the conference room, and Rogelio Segundo from Aaron's Sales and Lease is present. Miss Brumfield, you heard me go through the rights regarding small claims. You understand that, and there is no appeal from this?
Excuse me, sir, what'd you say now?
There is no appeal from this. Any decision made here is final. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. This is a claim for $790.45 that had to do with a laptop computer. I'm going to ask you, Miss Brumfield, and you, Mr. Segundo, to both please raise your right hand. You both swear or affirm any testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true to the best of your knowledge and belief.
I do.
Yes. I do.
All right. Mr. Segundo, tell me how this claim came to be regarding this laptop computer.
She got a laptop for her daughter. What ended up happening was they brought it into our store. It was covered in food and it was not charged. We told her originally we'd take a look at it, but the daughter was being kind of rude about it. So we told her, really, with cracked screens, there's nothing we can do. We don't repair that. If it was like a manufacturer defect or something wrong with the battery or keyboard, we'd fix that. Just we don't do anything with cracked screens. And then they got upset about it. They stopped paying for a while. Then they started paying again, and then they stopped. We did offer to lower their payments. They came into the store. We told them we'd do it for $399. But for us to do that in our system, we'd have to get her to do a new order form and fill it out. Then after that, we changed the price of it to $399 for them. The daughter came in. She was just did not want to stay in the store long enough to sign paperwork. She didn't want to do any of that. We did put a note on the account showing that as long as they filled out the form, we'd pull the money out that she put into it and reapply it for $298.99. After that, they stopped picking up the phone, and we ended up going to their house numerous of times. When we went out there, the husband, he was upset because he didn't want to be involved in this. And we did originally tell Dorinda not to put it under her name for her. Her daughter's an adult. She could put items that's in her possession under her name. She refused to do that. So she, ultimately she's responsible for it since she did sign for it. They don't.
What was the original purchase price for the laptop?
So the full term payout for the laptop came out to $1,907 with 64 cents.
Now, when you said you offered to reduce the payment to $399, that would be the payoff for this claim?
No. So right now, the early purchase option for it is the amount that I put on there,
which is
$790 with 45 cents.
Well, what was the $399 business?
Well, that's a deal that my boss was trying to work with them to handle it outside of court. She's a great customer and definitely, she's done a lot of business with us. We hate that it came to this. But I mean, when you're not communicating with us and we have to come out to your house all the time, it really, there's what can we do,
All right. So at some point you offered a payout of $399 for the whole thing?
Yep. And it's in the notes that we'd, after she made the payment of $125, we'd reapply it as long as they did the order form with us, which she, no one came in to do. So right now it would be down to $298.99 if she had come into the store and done the retype and filled out the form and done it that way.
Ms.
Yeah,
Brumfield, what's your position?
A lot of stuff he's saying is lying. Ain't no way this man would have told me that I couldn't rent nothing for my daughter. I went in there, I did go sign for getting what you call it, but now one time he said, don't do that. Now, how do that sound?
Well, all right, well, did the laptop get broken?
It did get cracked. And then I said, well, can we file an insurance? He said, no. And so then after a couple of months ago,
That's not what he said.
okay, after a couple of months ago, she had some problems with her neighbors. They ended up stealing the laptop out the cart. And so I told them, hey, this got stolen, we got a police report, can't y'all file it under insurance? Everything electronic has to have insurance.
And with that, with the purchases, he's all the way up. It was a $399 sale. I did come in, I offered to pay off the full $400. I told him, I'm on my way to work. I had the kids and everything. I was being very much respectful. There was no disrespect coming in at all. He told me I had to pay $189. I paid the $189 and I told him I wouldn't have a full $399 if I paid $189 or something, whatever the last payment was. I was there to make that for the $399 payment. He told me, no, I cannot make that payment. I have to make the payment first and then they can retype it up and then I can pay the $399. I told him I did not have that. So he took whatever payment. I said, could you please write up the agreement? He told me, I don't know, he just stood there for a long time. I'm like, well, I don't have time to just be waiting. I'm trying to make the final payment of the $399. So he took the payment. He said it's $125, and I think it was like $200, but only had $200 left to pay. Only had $200 left to give him. And he
All right, and then ultimately the laptop got stolen from you?
Yeah, it got stolen from me.
Well, they're not responsible for that. You can have renter's insurance, but they don't insure their everything from theft. That would be a free-for-all. People would rent a TV, claim it was stolen.
Everything electronic has to have insurance on it. And I'm looking at the paper in front of me. It says for a refrigerator.
All right, I'm gonna go with the payoff amount of $298.89.
The
Was $63.50
That's the refrigerator amount was $700.
to 98.89 plus $63.50.
Your Honor, as you looked at this paper, my paper says it's for a refrigerator. It don't say
that again.
On this paper, it says for a refrigerator. If you look at it on the third page, it says for a refrigerator. So
this has to do with the laptop.
Right, but the price right here says a refrigerator on the second page. Is that the price you guys looking at?
No. This says oh, 18 cubic foot refrigerator, $699.99. That's a separate contract. This one is refrigerator. She's right. You don't have a copy of an agreement regarding a laptop attached to these pleadings. Everything has to do with the sale of an 18 cubic foot refrigerator on a rent-to-own contract. Yeah, the pleadings say laptop, but the contract is for a refrigerator. Mr. Segundo, what's your response to that?
I might have put in like the last agreement when I printed it out, I might have put the ones for the refrigerator, but I do have the signatures and everything else on the laptop.
Well, you don't have them here. You have the burden of proof. What you filed was that she didn't pay you for a refrigerator. But we're talking about a laptop. So you haven't met your burden of proof. So lesson learned, you get 0. I talked about this with some of your predecessors who shall remain nameless. They got sloppy in their pleadings and to throw some spaghetti at the wall and hope it would stick. You're the plaintiff and you have the burden of proving the case. You sued her for a laptop. You filed pleadings for a refrigerator, and there's nothing in the record that sustains your claim. So I was gonna give her the benefit of the doubt and cut it almost in half. But at this point, I find you haven't met your burden of proof. So the claim is for 0. Ms. Brumfield, if you stick around, we'll give you a copy of that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But you weren't very good customers. You broke the screen, you got food on it, you didn't pay for it. You won on a technicality, but this is electronic equipment. You need to be more careful with it.
Yes, Middleton, it was just a small crack and it didn't have no food or none of that on it. It was a small crack and I was trying to get it replaced. I was on my way to get it fixed when we was asking about the insurance and when I went to go pay the last bill. I was trying to pay it off. It was no,
All right, well, that's one of the reasons why I was willing to reduce it.
Okay, yeah, it was nothing like that. I keep real good care of my stuff and I would have fixed it, most definitely.
All right, well, go out to the counter and you can get a copy of that order. Mr. Segundo will send you that. We have 2 other matters to address, which should just take a minute.